The Stamp Act has been repealed. The declaratory acts were passed. So were the Townshend Acts. There were organized boycotts that took place throughout the colonies. And as the boycotts progressed, the resistance, it stayed, we could just say, orderly. You had the boycotts, you had petitions to the government, you had meetings of concerned colonists, and their ledgers became, were used instead of weapons. But as we get later into the 1760s, that balance begins to break down. British officials began to respond to protest with more harsh enforcements. There wasn't really a mind of compromise here. Then more custom officers began to arrive, and then more troops were stationed in colonial cities, and tensions began to fill the streets. Arguments would often turn physical. Crowds would form faster when tension was felt. The trust was, beginning to erode. George Washington watched this shift with growing concern, and he believed resistance needed, discipline and order and restraint. Violence would threaten all of that. So when we have these clashes erupt, especially in port cities, especially Boston, Washington worried about real escalation. So protest was becoming confrontation. And when we reached 1770, that tension exploded in what became known as the Boston Massacre, when British soldiers fired into a crowd of colonists. People died, 5 people to be exact. And the political ground shifted overnight. Washington did not celebrate the chaos, and he actually showed fear of it. Once blood was shed, compromise became more difficult. Positions began to harden. Moderation, it lost ground. Washington really understood something crucial, that violence changes the rules. It narrows down the choices, and it forces people to take sides, and it makes reconciliation unlikely. But still, he also saw the reality. British authority now rested on bayonets and not consent. The space for peaceful resistance it was shrinking very fast. And as protests gave way to violence, Washington realized the colonies were moving toward a point where, they might not be able to step back from.